Hello, I'm Petra Farrell, and I was invited to share a bit about life and dignity of the human person and how it relates to me personally and in my work. For those of you that don't know me, my husband Dan and I have been St. Joe parishioners for about 15 years, and we have 5 wonderful children, ages 18 to 10, and all of our children have either attended or are currently attending St. Joseph Grade School. When our children were younger, I spent many wonderful hours volunteering in the grade school in the parish, and now I work for the NICOLA Center for Ethics and Culture at Notre Dame. I'm honored to have an opportunity to share what I do at the NICOLA Center and how it pertains to the Church's teaching of honoring the life and dignity of the human person. Like many of you, I've had mentors who have taught me personally, like my parents, and those that I have watched and admired from afar, like St. Mother Teresa. All were champions of life, and they all led by example. Their words and actions showed me that we are truly all made in the likeness and image of God, and that we are all His children, which makes sense that it's the cornerstone of all Catholic social teaching. My parents were the first to teach me how to see Christ in others, and they did this by spending countless hours helping to run and support our local homeless shelter and soup kitchen. Serving alongside them was common for my siblings and me, and because of it, we were never at a loss for service hours growing up. And the way that my parents were called to help the homeless, I have always felt a call to help the pro-life movement. For years, I volunteered at the St. Joseph County Right to Life, now called the Michiana Right to Life, as a sidewalk counselor. On the sidewalk, my eyes were open to the pain not only of the women walking into the clinic, but also those exiting that were just now facing the reality of the enormity of their decision. By offering help and hope, I learned the importance of mercy and how to be a loving witness, not only to the women and their families, but also to those that worked at the clinic. Little did I know, but those encounters would help me in the role I have today as the Culture of Life Program Manager for the DeNicola Center. The mission of the DeNicola Center for Ethics and Culture is to share the richness of the Catholic moral and intellectual tradition through teaching, research, and public engagement, both on campus at Notre Dame and as Notre Dame in the wider public square. In my role, I'm able to honor the life and dignity of the human person through advising and through our various pro-life events that I run for the center. One of my roles that I adore is that I'm the Notre Dame Right to Life Club Advisor. I help the students promote a culture of life on campus and off. One of the ways I get to do this is by helping the students plan for the annual trip to DC for the March for Life. Each year, around 1,000 students, faculty, and staff serve as joyful witnesses to the sanctity of all human life. In addition to the March for Life, each spring we host the EVANGELIUM VITAE Medal event. The EVANGELIUM VITAE Medal honors the heroes in the pro-life movement. This Lifetime Achievement Award honors those that affirm and defend the sanctity of life from its earliest stages. This upcoming spring, we'll be honoring Vicki Thorne. Vicki is the founder of the post-abortion healing ministry, Project Rachel. It has been a privilege to have the opportunity to celebrate so many champions for life. Speaking of champions for life, I also run the Notre Dame Vita Institute, which is a week-long intellectual formation program that each summer since 2010 has brought pro-life leaders from around the world to the campus of Notre Dame to study the fundamentals of life issues with world-renowned scholars across a wide range of disciplines, including social science, biology, philosophy, theology, law, communication, and counseling. Our week-long program offers more than 20 presentations covering the full spectrum of topics essential to building a culture of life, including such important issues as racial inequality, disability, adoption, euthanasia and assisted suicide, public health policy, integral human development, and much more. We recently hosted a virtual Vita Institute webinar, and if you're interested in learning more about the fundamentals of life issues, the link for the recordings can be found below. The recordings will give you just a small glimpse into what we offer each summer. Just like our Vita participants are called to serve the pro-life movement in very different ways, I feel we are all called in our own ways to honor the life and dignity of the human person. As I mentioned before, my parents were called to serve the homeless. However, I personally felt my calling was to help promote the culture of life. There are truly countless ways to serve others and to honor the life and dignity of the human person. I prefer not to overcomplicate things, and we should simply look to the examples of individuals that we admire. I like to look to St. Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She saw the intrinsic value of each and every human being through prayer and service she shared in their sorrow and their joy. In my mind, she's a perfect example of listening to God's call. And through prayer and action, she was better able to see Christ in others. So where does that leave us? I mean, those of us that aren't saints. What can I do to honor the life and dignity of the human person? First and foremost, I think Mother Teresa would say pray, and then pray some more. And as far as action, well, start with a smile. She said every time you smile at someone, it is an action of love. It is a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. Peace begins with a smile. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Jones. I teach at Notre Dame Law School, and I previously practiced public interest law in Chicago, where I worked on fair housing policy, environmental and poverty issues, and I also represented low-income families at the Notre Dame Legal Aid Clinic. I'm happy to share some reflections on human dignity that are informed by that work and also by service projects that I've participated in at St. Joe Parish. Christ tells us that whatever you do for another person, you do it for me. And whatever you fail to do for another person, you fail to do it for me. And he really meant everyone. He set the example by seeking out tax collectors, lepers, adulterers, Roman soldiers, thieves. He entered their homes and he ate meals with them. And he told us to care for the poor, for refugees, for prisoners, and for other marginalized persons. Every human being, no matter what they've done or what group they belong to, has infinite dignity as a creation of God. My Catholic education emphasized those teachings and the challenge of putting them into action. And that formation is what led me to pursue a career in public interest law. Being faithful to that call to respect human dignity has been a constant challenge for me. How can I really see every person as made in the image and likeness of God? How can I get past the labels that I instinctively put on other people, including people with different political or religious beliefs and people from different backgrounds and cultures that I just don't understand? My students and my clients and my fellow parishioners have really helped me in that. One incident at the legal aid clinic helped me to realize the importance of respecting the human dignity of persons who are looked down on by society. My law students and I were in a courthouse one day advising tenants before they appeared in eviction hearings. And we met with one obviously impoverished woman who was months behind on her rent and whom we were sure would be evicted. We explained the law and the court process to her. We suggested some things she might tell the judge. And then we turned to our next meeting with another tenant as she went into the courtroom. And later on, we were in the courthouse lobby when she came out after her hearing. And she had indeed lost her case and been given an eviction order. But she came over to thank us. And I asked her why she was thanking us when we hadn't been able to help her stay in the apartment. We viewed the representation as a failure. And she said, well, because you cared. You took the time to listen to me, hear my story. You helped me to understand what was going to happen and why. And I'm eternally grateful for that. Just being with that woman, just accompanying her through a difficult moment meant a lot to her because she felt respected as a human being. And that was obviously not a common experience for her as a person in poverty. There are small and large ways for us to show our respect for others' dignity. As PETRA FARRELL says in her reflection today, any act of kindness we do for another person, as simple as a smile, shows our respect for their dignity. So hold open a door, say thank you, greet a stranger, wear a mask. But there are bigger ways as well. We can leave our bubbles and encounter others where they are so that we can learn to see them as full human beings. When conditions allow, once again, we can join our fellow parishioners and serve a meal at Our Lady of the Road or Hope Ministries. deliver food through St. Vincent de Paul. And where legal and social structures deprive persons of their God-given dignity, we are called to change them. So let us work together for racial justice, attack systems of poverty, advocate for immigrants and refugees, work to protect the unborn. Actively promoting human dignity in these ways is often uncomfortable, but it's our duty, and ultimately it's immensely rewarding. Thanks.
Take me as I am. Summer not what I shall be. Set your seal upon my heart and live in me. Take me as I am. Summer not what I shall be. Set your seal upon my heart and live in me. Take me as I am. Summer not what I shall be. Set your